Right now, there are millions of Americans sitting at home collecting Social Security disability benefits who are about to get a letter in the mail that could change everything. For the first time in the history of the Social Security program, the agency has taken continuing disability reviews away from the state agencies that have been handling them for decades and moved them in-house. That means the people who are now deciding whether you keep your disability benefits are not the same trained specialists who have been doing this work for years. They are new. They are understaffed. The Social Security Administration just lost over 7,000 employees, and the people now running the show are Silicon Valley types whose entire philosophy is move fast and break things. That is not my opinion. That is what they have demonstrated over the last several weeks. They announced a new national program to roll out March 7th, then delayed it to April 17th, then quietly shelved it entirely. They changed the overpayment withholding rate from 100% to 10% to 50% and back again. They are making decisions and reversing them within days. And now, these same people are in charge of deciding whether you continue to receive the disability check that pays your rent, covers your medication, and feeds your family. If you are on Social Security disability benefits right now, whether it is SSDI or SSI, you need to understand exactly what is happening and exactly what to do to protect yourself. Because one wrong move or one missed letter or one form filled out the wrong way could cost you everything. And I need you to stay with me all the way to the end of this video, because there is one thing that millions of people on disability do not know about their own benefits, and it is causing them to turn down jobs and income they are absolutely allowed to have. I am going to explain that at the end, and it could completely change the life of someone you know. Let me start with how you can lose your disability benefits, because most people think it can only happen one way, and that is simply not true. The most common way people lose their disability benefits has nothing to do with their medical condition and everything to do with not responding to mail. Social Security sends out continuing disability review packets through regular mail. If you have signed up for electronic notifications through your My Social Security account, they may also contact you that way. But here is the problem. If your address is not up to date with the Social Security Administration, you will never receive that letter. It will go to your old address. You will not know it exists. You will not respond. And Social Security will cut off your benefits for non-compliance. It does not matter that you are still disabled. It does not matter that nothing about your condition has changed. If you do not respond to a CDR notice, they can and will terminate your benefits. So the very first thing you need to do right now today before you do anything else is make sure your current address is on file with Social Security. If you have moved in the last few years and you are not 100% sure your address is updated, call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 or log into your My Social Security account at ss8.gov and verify it. This is not optional. This is the single easiest way people lose their benefits, and it is completely preventable. Now let me explain what a continuing disability review actually is, because there is a tremendous amount of unnecessary fear and stress around this process. A CDR is simply Social Security checking to see if you are still disabled. There are two types. A medical CDR, which reviews whether your medical condition still prevents you from working, and a work CDR, which is triggered when Social Security believes you may be working or earning income above the allowed limits. Most people will deal with medical CDRs. Here is what most people do not know about the timing. Your CDR is on a rotation. Depending on the severity of your condition and the likelihood of medical improvement, Social Security assigns your case a review schedule. It might be every year. It might be every 3 years. It might be every 5 or 7 years. You have the right to call Social Security and ask when your next CDR is expected. Call them and say, I am receiving disability benefits, and I want to know what my CDR rotation is and when my next review is expected. Write down the answer and then do something that will sound strange, but is actually the smartest thing you can do. Forget about it. Here is why. Even if your rotation says you are due for a CDR this month, you may never actually receive one. Congress sets a separate budget allocation specifically for CDRs every year. Congress tells Social Security you will complete a certain number of CDRs this year, and here is the money to do them. If the budget does not cover every case that is due for review, then some cases simply do not get reviewed that cycle. Your local office might have a budget to process 100 CDRs in a given month. But they know from experience that a large percentage of people will not respond or will respond late. So they send out 200 packets to make sure they hit their quota of 100 completed reviews. That means if you are packet number 101, your completed paperwork may literally get set aside because they have already fulfilled their allocation. You could spend weeks losing sleep over whether you are about to lose your benefits and your paperwork was never even processed. So the approach that will save you the most stress and protect you the most effectively is simple. Find out your rotation. Complete the paperwork when you receive it. Make copies of everything before you send it in. Then forget about it again and go on with your life until Social Security contacts you with a decision. Now let me talk about how to actually fill out the CDR paperwork, because this is where people make mistakes that cost them their benefits. The number one error people make is being too positive. I understand that instinct. You want to put on a brave face. You want to show strength. You want to say things are getting better. But the CDR is not the place for that. The entire purpose of a continuing disability review is to determine whether you can work. And the reason you are on disability is not because you have bad days. Everyone has bad days. The reason you are on disability is because your bad days and your average days make it impossible for you to maintain consistent employment. Anyone can get a job. That is not the question. The question is, can you keep that job day after day, week after week, month after month? If you have 2 good days a week, but 5 days where you cannot function, that is what needs to be on the form. You need to describe your average days and your worst days honestly and in detail. Do not describe your best days as if they represent your normal life, because they do not. That is why you are on disability. Every single question on the CDR form should be answered. If a question does not apply to you, write "not applicable." Do not leave it blank. A blank answer can be interpreted as non-compliance or as you skipping something that might have been relevant. Fill out every field. Be thorough. Be honest. Describe the reality of your daily life on the days when your condition is at its worst and at its average. And always make copies of every single page before you mail it in or submit it. If anything gets lost in the system, and things are getting lost in the system right now more than ever, you need to be able to prove exactly what you submitted and when. Now here is why the recent changes make all of this more urgent than it has ever been. For decades, continuing disability reviews followed a very specific process. You would file your initial disability claim at your local Social Security office. The local office would gather your information, verify your work history check, your insurance status, collect your medical records, and then send the entire package to a state agency called DDS, which stands for Disability Determination Services. DDS is the state-level agency staffed with medical professionals and trained disability examiners who actually review the medical evidence and make the determination about whether you are disabled. The same process applied to CDRs. Your local Social Security office would collect the updated information and send it to DDS for the medical review. DDS has been doing this work for decades. They have established processes. They have trained staff. They have institutional knowledge about how to evaluate medical evidence. As of a few weeks ago, that system has been dismantled. Continuing disability reviews are now being handled in-house by the Social Security Administration itself, rather than being sent to the state DDS agencies. This has never been done before. The Social Security Administration just went through massive staffing cuts, losing over 7,000 employees. The remaining staff are being stretched across multiple functions, many of which they were not originally trained for. Technical experts have been reassigned to answer phone calls. Computer specialists are being asked to handle workloads they have no experience with. And now, on top of all of that, the agency is taking on a massive new responsibility that it has never handled before, with fewer people and less institutional knowledge than the agencies that were doing it previously. This is why I said at the beginning of this video that things are going to be chaotic for the next several months. And chaotic systems make mistakes. Social Security making a mistake on your CDR and incorrectly terminating your benefits is a real possibility right now in a way that it has not been before. That is why documenting everything, making copies, and being thorough with your responses is more important right now than it has ever been. There is another way you can lose your disability benefits that catches people completely off guard, and that is the work CDR. Even if you are not working, Social Security may send you a work CDR. This can happen for several reasons. Maybe there is an error in their records. Maybe someone reported that you are working even if you are not. An ex-spouse, a former friend, a neighbor, anyone can call Social Security and claim that you are working under the table. Social Security receives that tip and sends out a work CDR. If you do not receive it because your address is wrong or you do not respond because you do not think it applies to you, they can terminate your benefits based on non-compliance. So even if you have not worked a single day since you went on disability, you need to be prepared for the possibility of a work CDR showing up, and you need to respond to it promptly and completely. Now let me tell you about the thing that I said at the beginning could change someone's life. And I need you to pay very close attention to this because there are people right now in their late 60s and 70s who are making their lives unnecessarily difficult because of something they do not understand about their own benefits. When you are on Social Security disability benefits and you reach your full retirement age, which for most people is 67 years old, your disability benefits end. You read that correctly. Nobody in the United States of America who is over their full retirement age is receiving Social Security disability benefits. Nobody. Not a single person who is 68 or 70 or 75 or 80 years old is on disability. What happens is that at your full retirement age, Social Security automatically converts your disability benefits to retirement benefits. The dollar amount on your check stays the same or may even go up slightly. Most people never even notice the switch happened. But here is what changes, and it changes everything. You no longer have to do CDRs, ever. The continuing disability reviews stop permanently because you are no longer on disability. You are on regular retirement benefits, and the earnings limitations disappear. When you were on disability, you were limited in how much you could earn. If you went over the substantial gainful activity threshold, Social Security could determine you were no longer disabled and terminate your benefits. But once you are on regular retirement benefits after your full retirement age, there are no earnings limitations whatsoever. You can earn $10,000 a month. You can earn $50,000 a month. You can earn $1 million. It does not matter. Your retirement benefits continue regardless of how much you earn. And right now there are people who are 68 and 72 and 75 years old who think they are still on disability. They have been offered jobs, part-time work at a local store, helping out at a restaurant, something that would give them extra income and get them out of the house and let them socialize and feel productive. And they are turning those opportunities down because they are terrified of losing their disability benefits. But they are not on disability. They have not been on disability for years. They were switched to retirement benefits at their full retirement age, and nobody told them. If you know someone in this situation, and I guarantee you do, or you know someone who knows someone, please share this information with them. It could literally transform their daily life. They could take that job. They could earn that extra money. They could stop living in fear of a CDR that is never coming because they are not on disability anymore. Let me also address something that applies to everyone on disability benefits, not just the person receiving them. If you are on Social Security disability and you have children under the age of 18, those children may be eligible to receive benefits on your record. If you have a child who became disabled before the age of 22, that child may also qualify regardless of their current age. And if there is a spouse in the household who is caring for a child who is under 16 or caring for a disabled adult child, that spouse may qualify for what are called child in care benefits. These are additional monthly payments that come on top of your disability check. A lot of families do not know about these benefits, or they were offered them once when the disability claim was first approved and declined because of work or income at that time. But circumstances change. If the caregiving spouse stopped working or reduced their hours, they may now qualify even if they did not before. You are allowed to go back and file at any time. Here is what I need you to do right now. First, verify your address with Social Security immediately. Log into ssa.gov or call 1-800-772-1213 and make sure they have your correct current address on file. Second, call Social Security and find out your CDR rotation. Ask when your next continuing disability review is expected. Write it down, then stop worrying about it until you actually receive the paperwork. Third, if you receive a CDR notice, complete every question on the form. Describe your average and worst days honestly. Write "not applicable" for anything that does not apply. Make copies of every single page. Send it in, and then stop stressing about it. Fourth, if you are over your full retirement age and you think you are on disability benefits, you are not. You were converted to retirement benefits automatically. You have no earnings limitations. You do not have to worry about CDRs. You can work as much as you want. Fifth, if you have children under 18, or a child who became disabled before 22, or a spouse caring for a qualifying child, contact Social Security and ask about auxiliary child benefits and child in care benefits. These could put hundreds of additional dollars into your household every single month. If this video helped you understand something you did not know before, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone on disability who is stressing about their next CDR. Someone over 67 who thinks they cannot work. Someone with a disabled child who does not know about auxiliary benefits. The link in the description below will take you to a free resource where you can download a complete CDR survival guide along with information on spouse benefits, survivor benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, and over 100 other programs that you might qualify for. You will also receive real-time alerts whenever major changes happen at Social Security, so you are never caught off guard by a policy shift you did not see coming. The link is right below this video. It costs nothing and takes seconds. Now leave a comment and tell me what is happening with your CDR. Have you received a notice recently? Are you worried about the new in-house review process? Have you been through a CDR before and have advice for others? Your experiences and your questions help shape what gets covered next, and more importantly, they help other people in this community protect their benefits. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.